Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Rachel Matthew, the founder of All Things Women, an online platform geared to educate women and their partners on sexual and reproductive health. In continuing our series, Breast Cancer Awareness Series, tonight we're going to talk about sex and breast cancer, how to maintain your love life. And we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Shelly Ann Weeks. Yay! Dr. Shelly Ann is a sexologist here in Jamaica, a sex educator, advocate for sexual and reproductive health. She's the author of I Changed My Diet and Changed My Life, author of It's My Body, period. As an agent for change in ensuring women are well equipped for their period, that women are well educated about their sexual and reproductive health. She has a foundation called Her Flow Foundation. And I'm so proud and happy to have her here with us today. Miss Weeks, welcome.
I thank you so much for having me. I'm always interested in talking about all things women. And just for the record, I'm not officially a doctor yet, but I'm working on it.
I said doctor?
Yes, that's quite okay. People think, because I spend so much time talking about sexual and reproductive health, people think that I'm a doctor. So it's quite okay. It's fine.
All right, sorry. To start off our discussion, I have a little icebreaker. So for this icebreaker, I'm going to give a short scenario. And the thing about this is that you have to use a one-word advice to give to this woman in the scenario. One-word advice. Okay. We have a breast cancer patient who has had a bilateral mastectomy. So she has lost her both breasts, and her partner is giving her an ultimatum that she has breast reconstruction or the relationship is going to come to an end. What's your one-word advice?
Run.
All right, run. Okay, another one. Recently diagnosed with breast cancer. And she needs to get a mastectomy. That's how huge the lump is. But her husband or boyfriend is begging her not to have that procedure done. She's now several months into her diagnosis. The breast is changing color and she's getting sicker. What is your advice, one-word advice to her?
Run!
Run! Okay then. Run. Okay then. So we have another one who has been diagnosed with breast cancer for some months now, and throughout her treatment, she has asked her family, including her husband and children, to stay away from her during that time, especially her husband. She doesn't want her husband to see her without any hair, to see her in that state. What is your advice to her?
Don't.
Okay, don't.
You see, I can only use one word. I'll say don't.
All right, don't. The last one. So we have another one who has had a mastectomy. It has been weeks now. She has been unable to look at herself in the mirror or look down at her chest because she can't bear the look of the scars. What is your advice to her?
Look.
Look. All right. Okay then. Right. So those were our 4 scenarios, and I'm just going to get right into the discussion. So in your profession so far, how have you seen breast cancer affect the self-esteem and self-image of women in your conversation with them and experience? And to what extent?
It's probably the biggest. Oh, I don't even know the word to use. I'm trying to say it's the thing that is so pervasive throughout every woman who has to deal with breast cancer that I've personally spoken to, women who have spoken to in professional setting as well as personal setting. women in my family have had to deal with breast cancer. I have friends who have had breast cancer. I've been to treatments with people who go through breast cancer. So breast cancer is a very intimate process for me, because I'm usually there. Like, I get to be very intimate with the person, and I think their self-esteem takes the biggest beating, and I'll say even more than their physical, because the physical is being treated. But for most of the process, there isn't any targeted treatment for the mental and emotional symptoms that comes with breast cancer and even treating breast cancer.
Yes.
Because remember that we're not just talking about how she looks externally. She still lives in this body that doesn't feel like her body because of the treatment. And then she looks in the mirror and she doesn't recognize who she sees. It's like she's having an outer body experience. So that's actually a term that was said to me. It's like, Shelly, I don't even feel like I'm living in my own body anymore. And so when you gave me those scenarios, and the first two scenarios where I said, run, you are giving me examples of them having a partner who is caught up with how they look physically and not thinking about their overall well-being. And that's why I say run. So I just think that more has to be done to address the emotional and the mental side of this journey, because I think perhaps it's the part that stays the longest and hurts the most, because even after you go through the treatments and you do all the things and your body changes, you still have to now figure out how to live with this new body that you now have. And as somebody who has gone through a major transformation with how they look, I can definitely tell you that your mind doesn't change, but you're looking in the mirror and you see a completely different body. So if you don't like what you see, that's a drastic thing that you have to figure out a way to deal with it, because it's not like you can say, all right, I'm just going to put on a different body today. It's still your body. So if you're looking in the mirror, then that example to give about the lady who couldn't look at herself, I know somebody who went through that. And that's why I said, look, just face the music. Look at what you're working with, and it's gonna break you down, and you're gonna have to look at it again, and you're gonna have to come to terms with the fact that this is how you look now. So yeah, man, it's a massive part of the journey.
You spoke about the fact that even the self-love journey, it comes in steps, right? It's not something that's done overnight or developed overnight. So what are some strategies a woman can implement to start that self-love journey as she battles breast cancer? What are some strategies?
I think the first thing is to just face it. Just take the bull by the horn, touch your scars, look at yourself in the mirror. Toddy, just stand up and look at yourself and take in who you are now and what it looks like. And it's going to be hard. You're going to need you're going to need a minute to accept. But I think that's such an important part of it, because if in your mind you're still trying to see who you were before, then it's going to be even harder, because who you were before no longer exists. This is who you are now. This is who you are with this new body that feels the way you feel, that looks the way it looks. So the first thing you have to do is face it, and then face whatever comes with that. Because you're probably going ball about it for a couple of weeks. Ball. You're probably going to need to cuss. You're probably going to mash up some things. Mash them up. Allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. Part of what we are very good at doing as women, to our detriment, is to mask the ugly. And what I mean by that is we have very ugly thoughts about ourselves. And we look in the mirror and we're very, very hard and critical of ourselves. And we put on the makeup and we fix up ourselves and we stuff our boobs with things, our bras, and we sit up straight and we hide how we really feel, and externally it looks like we're together and inside we are crying. I'm saying, get ugly with yourself. Face it. Be truthful to what you are feeling. Feel it. Because if you don't get through those feelings, number one, you're not gonna be able to transition into the new space you're going to be in. And number two, it's going to be difficult for you to even relate to the people that you love because you're over here fighting this internal battle with yourself. So they want to be there for you and you can't even let them because you can't even allow yourself to accept what is happening, right? And so the support system, the people we have around you, oh gosh, man, they can make or break that journey because it's cheering you on. If they're not in your corner making you know, say, girl, I saw your cheekbone in the stage that I cut off your hair a long time. Seriously, good cheekbone. I used to say bone structure. You know what I mean? You need that. You need that person who's going to make sure that you understand that you are not just here for you, you're here for them too, and they need you to be all right, and they need you to be there. So they don't want you to wither up and become anything. They want you to bloom and blossom in who you are going to be, because the other side of this breast cancer journey, you know, is a place I love to call don't care. Because I know this lady, Sandra is like, she said, Shelly, boy, I don't even want to say it that way, but after breast cancer, bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring it. And that's her whole attitude. And she had to get there, because when she tell you about fear dream, she sometimes just lay down on the ground in her bathroom and get a good call. But the first thing you have to do is you have to face it. You have to accept it, and you have to recognize that this is who you are now and move from there.
But so far, it is the woman herself trying to come to that realization that here it is, that this is what the situation I've been given, I have to deal with it. But at what point should you say, okay, I've been trying to deal with this. This is bigger than me. Maybe I might need someone else or some sort of professional help to help me along this journey. At what point should she become that self-aware to realize
from day one? You need that from day one. Even before she breaks all the way down and say, all right, bring it on. And that's why I talk about the support system.
Yeah.
Because what your support system is going to do is to help to fill in the gaps where you probably don't see yourself.
Yes.
Right? You need that friend who again look at you and say, babes, you know, say, me set an appointment for you. So I'm going to come with you and we go see a counselor, because, you know, you probably can talk to somebody, and yeah, you can talk to me, but I can't help you. So I go talk to somebody who can, you know. So that for having that support system, that will help. So she probably won't even think about it herself, because right now she just caught up at deal with all of the other things that's going on in her mind. So having a support system, having a team that's going to help to back you up and fill in the gaps is going to be integral, because that is going to be a part of building you back to a spot, or even taking you to a new place where you can get to function and find joy and peace and glow and still feel sexy. There is this lady on Instagram that I follow. She's a breast cancer survivor, and she did a double mastectomy as well. Her name is Erica Hart. And Erica Hart went to a festival in Central Park called Afropunk. And she had on a shorts, and she was topless, and she wore this massive African beaded necklace. And she was the talk of the entire festival. So I find out about her because I subscribe to Wolipa Woman type magazine, and everybody took her picture. And now she is this model power woman who go around, and she just go around topless, and she does fashion shows. And when she's on the fashion on the runway, she's topless and she shows off her scars, and she finds so much empowerment in that. And so many other women look at her and go, wow, and they find that empowering. So I think that team, having that team can get you there, can elevate you to a point where you become bigger than yourself.
Yes. The Her Flow Foundation, as you said, educates women on sexual reproductive health and includes a range of different things. So as relates to breast cancer, what has the Her Flow Foundation done to bring awareness towards breast cancer and help motivate such women as well?
All right. Well, what as you can tell, October is also period awareness month, which is breast cancer awareness month.
Mm-hmm.
And when I chose October to start period awareness month, a friend of mine said to me, "Say, why I tried to compete with breast cancer?" I said, "Why you see it as a competition? Women have period and breast cancer too." When I said it, she was like, "Oh, she never thought about it that way." And that's literally what it is.
Yeah.
These two things happen at the same time. So I've always participated in where the breast cancer part of it, I don't try to reinvent the wheel. I just support things that are happening. I've been a part of fundraising efforts. What's the name of the marketing company? Oh, I forgot the name of them now, but they do this breakfast each year that I usually host it for them, and I do that pro bono, and I usually participate in their fundraising events. Whenever there's any sort of walk run kind of thing, I participate in that too. I give money towards breast cancer. I do a lot to raise awareness where breast cancer is concerned. And one of the biggest things that I do just overall with all of the advocacy I do is I see a lot of value in storytelling. So I would have like lives and stuff on my social media pages with breast cancer survivors. Sandra that I spoke about, Sandra is pretty popular. She is the CEO for Totally Male. And she's very vocal. She has a great breast cancer story, and she just wants to share her knowledge and all of that as well. Because even in her, she goes through different stages in terms of her sexual interest or libido. She talks about her libido really dropped and what she had to do to raise it up again and that kind of thing. So it is very important for me to encourage women to tell their stories. I think that is one of the most powerful things that we can do, because in sharing your story, you don't just talk about your experience, you empower somebody else to do the same. And you also empower somebody to go and get help. Because part of the reasons why some of us suffer so much is that we are in that toxic relationship with that man who's just thinking about, oh, he likes your nice breast and you shouldn't cut it off and all of these kind of things. And you don't get to have a conversation with a woman who cut off her breast and still is attractive and still feels sexy and still get to live our life. And if your man is going to give you an ultimatum to leave you if you go get treatment for a dangerous illness, that is a dangerous tumor. You need to get out of your life quickly. Surgically remove him. Like seriously, that cannot be. That cannot be your choice. Your choice cannot be either you go treat cancer or you lose the man. That cannot be the choice. So take him off the table completely. If that's how you feel, bye-bye. Later. Let's go deal with this cancer thing. Let's go deal with this cancer thing now. Because right now you not serve my purpose right here. When I just breathe extra oxygen. I need all the oxygen we can get, oxygen necessary for healing. So come out from the oxygen.
All right, that's a good segue into my next question. Okay, relationship time now, into the romantic relationship. Now, one of the side effects, especially of chemotherapy or any sickness at all, is the decreased libido. All right.
Yeah.
Even though we know sex is just a small part of intimacy, because intimacy starts with conversation and other love languages. How can a woman and her partner maintain the intimacy throughout that relationship in the breast cancer journey?
I say because during this journey, I prioritize her and her health.
Yes.
If she don't feel like have sex, she shouldn't have to try. She shouldn't have to do things to make herself feel like she wants to have sex if she don't feel like have sex. Because she's gonna not feel like have sex sometimes. You just had a round of chemotherapy all day. Sexy is not what you're thinking about when you go home. You want to sleep. You want some nice food to eat. You want somebody to hold you. You want to be comforted. You don't want to be raga and rugu. So I think that she should be allowed I don't want to say freedom, because nobody can stop if you really want it. She should be allowed the latitude to gauge how she deals with her sexuality or her libido during this time. Now, everybody's journey is not the same and everybody's experience is not the same. So for the ladies who are interested, who still want to be sexual, there are myriad of things that you can do. And what you need most of all is a partner who is supportive and understanding and patient. You don't want a partner who just want to get in rocks off, because you're not in a rocks off space anyway. You want a partner who is going to make sure that they look out for your needs, and you might start off and change your mind and then fall back and know, say, well, it would have been awesome, but all right, they have to make some adjustments. So that's why we say the patience has to be exercised. And I'm putting a lot of the responsibility on a partner here, because that is what it requires. If you are in a relationship with somebody who is going through a dangerous illness right now and you're staying there to support them, their needs are going to come first. End of story. We do not ask men who are having prostate issues to get a direction, because that would be unreasonable. If he's treating his prostate cancer, we expect him to go through his treatment and finish and heal up before he has an erection. We're not asking him to come from chemotherapy and get it up the same evening. So the reverse is also true. He should not have that expectation of her. So I'm saying her priorities might not be sexy, and that's okay. She don't have to want to feel sexy. But if she does, by all means, indulge her sexy. Find out what she enjoys doing and do that. If she enjoys cunnilingus, then cunny her lingus. If she enjoy massages, then massage her. You want to cater to her needs and make her feel as comfortable and as desirable as she wants, and compliment her and rub down her skin, and this is where you get your intimacy game sorted out. And if you don't know what intimacy is, Google it. Right? Because this is not just about jump up and down and ejaculation. This is really where you get to be creative. And you might just have to stimulate her so she gets off, and then you go into the shower, go rub one out. That might be what it requires. I'm just saying, this expectation where even in our illness, women are still expected to show up, we need to stop it. Let her heal. Give her the latitude to become well. Then she can jump in and get her free card. But we shouldn't put the responsibility on her in the middle of our chemotherapy sessions to try to feel sexy. Come on. I just think that's unreasonable.
Yes, in my question, I was in the intimacy question, I was more thinking of things outside of sex, because even for a person who doesn't have cancer or any illness, in a normal dating scenario, one thing I realized, people don't focus on the intimacy part. Yeah. And as I said, intimacy comes in form of conversations, right? Creative dates, all of those things. It's not about
reading a book together. And you hear me talk about the fact that I'm publishing my next book. It's life lessons in maintaining your sexy. And I talk about sexy over sex, because sexy speaks to intimacy and just, being desirable and desiring each other and that kind of thing. And I think that is such an important point, because my whole belief around intimacy and sex is if you work on the intimacy, the sex is a happy bonus. The sex is going to happen anyway. But if you're just having sex with no intimacy, that's going to be monotonous, because sex is just a bunch of penetrative pumps. How much pump you can pump? And you pump and you pump and you pump and you pump and you're done. So what do you do after you're done pump? So the intimacy is the part where you get to be creative. I was divorce court. Dr. Lynn Holter has a thing that she calls all-day foreplay. I think it is such an awesome idea. All-day foreplay is when you ask work, you text message and you read it. Right, then maybe I'm meeting, there's a smile I'm meeting. So it's sweet. It's none of your business, they're too fast. And then no say you like Callaloo Patty, speaking for myself. And all of a sudden you're buying your own business. Somebody said you need to come around the front, you go around the front of the front desk. You get a callaloo party on a Tuesday for no reason. Hey,
Yes.
you know, I'm saying. So all day foreplay is a thing, right? So you can, if you always, and think about it this way, if you're in a relationship where you and your partner are busy trying to find different ways to surprise each other and make each other feel special, you don't have no time to do nothing else.
Yeah, I was anticipating them like, oh, I can't wait to be next to them.
Hello.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's some little simple thing, because I still have it. The other day I was cleaning up my closet and I have a little shoes box where I have some little keepsakes and things. And when I used to eat candy, gummy bears was my thing. And I buck up on a little gummy bear pack. When we just get on one regular Tuesday, and I make me save the bag, I me like gummy bear, and I thought it was such an awesome thing. I'm like, oh, we get gummy bear. And how much for a gummy bear? You see what I mean? So it's the gestures. And I like words. So write me a poem, even if it don't rhyme. I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Like, I'm into those kind of things. Find out what your partner is into.
Yeah.
They might like my partner, him love my cooking. So anytime you want to get on him good side, I just cook something. Right? I just cook something. So the other day I made meatless stew peas, because the man love him pig's tail with him stew peas with pig's tail and all kind of something. I made meatless stew peas and he was here and eat the meatless stew peas. And I said, then I don't want to pork in a nice stew peas again after this. Right? So just some little simple things. You don't have to OD. You don't have to do a whole heap of things you're not interested in. It's not something that requires you to do what they do on movie and rent out movie theaters or rent out big venues and hire celebrities. You don't have to go that big. You just have to cater to your partner. That's literally what we're talking about.
Yes. Yes. But this statement might not necessarily have to do with breast cancer itself. And I'm not sure if this is a reflection of the men here in Jamaica. And I hope no one gets offended. I've been here.
But it's all right, Ellie.
I've been living here for almost a decade now. And chivalry kind of on the low side here in
no, you're not
Jamaica.
To say it so nice. Them don't do them something there. I don't know why you're trying so hard to say it nice. You don't have to say it so nice. They're not interested in these things.
I'm always appalled. I'm all the apostles, appalled of Peter, everything. When
all the apostles, of course.
The most common one is the door one. Many a times I've had a whole heap of stuff in my hand, and let's say one of them is before me. They open the door, they go through, bam, the door almost hit me in my face. I'm like, sir, you didn't see me coming behind you? Like, it happens. And then if it's like that, generally, I can only imagine what happens in each relationship. And what's very dangerous is when someone is only nice to the person that they are in a relationship with. And in general,
no, you know what? My expectations are much lower than yours. Because I wouldn't mind if they're nice to the person that they're in the relationship with. Because you have some of them that only nice when them looking some sex. End of story, period. And you don't hear from, you have some of them that them say, okay, we have sex today, and you and them don't live the same place. You don't hear from them until they're ready to have sex again, them call you. So if they'll just treat the person who them have relationship with nice, I'll take that. But not even that you can expect. And don't even like that, even that door thing, like I said, my expectations much lower than yours. I just want you to pay attention. Like for me, that's such an important thing for me, because I'm a communicator. I verbalize. You don't have to ask how I feel, I'm gonna tell you. You don't ask what me like, you gonna one look at me, you can tell me which color I wear most of the time. You understand what I'm saying? I am not a mystery. I don't drop hints. I tell you exactly what I like, and I tell you where to buy it and how much it costs. So I don't do the thing where, them say, oh, but I want this and my boyfriend don't know. Really? Well, don't know. Send him an email. How does he communicate? Let him know.
All right. On the topic of transparency, At what point should a single woman who has gone through breast cancer, has her mastectomy and so forth, at what point should she disclose her past medical history to the person that she's dating?
I don't know if past medical history is what I think she should disclose, but if she's getting to the point of the relationship where she is considering having a physical relationship with the person, then she should disclose it. She shouldn't wait until when the physicalness start to happen and him bump up in and the fact that, oh, where's the boobs? You should know beforehand. Give him a chance to back out and leave. Do it. Give him a chance to say, oh no, I'm not interested in that, and let him go. Because he might back up in somebody like that. I think part of the challenge that a lot of women in this position have is that they fear the rejection so much that they put themselves in a position that makes it even more vulnerable for them. And my thing is, put it on the table. You're not going to give them all the details. Well, I went to 4 rounds of chemo and it was horrible, and I lost my hair and everything dry up, and they don't need the medical history. You just need to know that, well, I had breast cancer and I did a double mastectomy. That's end of story. And if they hear that and want to run, make them run one. You haven't invested so much by then. You're not going to be so wounded because, well, you're still getting to know the person. But at any point that you realize that you want to get physical with this person, disclose it before it actually happens. I don't think that them should go and buck up in your double mastectomy. They should know beforehand.
What if the person that they're dating isn't that bold initially in like saying, okay, I'm not interested, I'm backing out, but maybe the person's kind of interested in seeing where this takes them? What red flags should they look for?
Well, you have to talk about it. And you can tell from that conversation where the person stands or, how they feel. I wouldn't exercise too much patience in this thing because you're not going to try to convince him to want you. Either he does or he doesn't. So you have to look at it as a case that, okay, you're going to allow him to ask questions, but anytime you tired and you don't want to do it anymore, stop. Don't try to convince him to like you. Don't try to convince him to find you attractive. The one thing about men that I've always appreciated about them is that they're very decisive. So if you want to, he let you know. He tells you, I mean, no business about that. They'll let you know.
Very decisive.
Similarly, if they're not interested, they'll let you know too. They might not come out and say, no, I'm not interested. But if you tell them this and then you realize that you don't hear from them in the last week, and then you used to call the phone hours a night. Hello?
Exactly. You have your answer right there. Right there.
I'm telling you, they are very decisive. When they're interested, and when they're not, you know that too. Because when they're interested, they stalk you. You take up your phone, you don't talk to them in 5 minutes. They might inquire, how come them don't hear from you? How long now? But if all of a sudden you realize that you share this information with him and now you can't hear from him, you're calling him, he can't take the call, or he just all of a sudden became too busy. He's telling you something. Pay attention.
Exactly.
So now I'm going to come out and say flat out, no, I'm not interested, because that's kind of, that kind of harsh, and they might sound like a prick, and they probably don't want to do that. But pay attention to their actions.